that once.
Hello, this is Devin with Geek Stuff Games, and I'm here with Matt Epstein watching the second game of a match we recorded about a week ago. Unfortunately, due to an issue with data, game one was lost, but I did take it. And so what you're looking at now is my hand at the beginning of game two. This is a Jeskai almost mirror match. I'm playing the mid-range version running Geist, and he's playing the more control-ish version running, Cryptics and Ajani's. Now, Matt, can you tell me a little bit more about how you feel about this matchup?
I love these matchups. They're a lot of fun to play, and but no, to be honest, all jokes aside, they're very scary because they when it comes down to blue, white, red. I don't like the word Jeskai. I call it. I don't even like American. Let's call it French control.
French control.
The big thing for me is you don't really know what your opponent, what variant of blue, white, red they're playing. There's the straight control, there's mid range that he runs, that Devin runs with Geist. Some of them have, like the Resto and Blade Splicer. You have the Kiki Jiki, which I was running up until recently, and you have even Twin splashing white. And you just really don't know, especially when they play that turn one colonnade. You're still guessing. And in this case, he took game one. I knew he had Geist. So game two and three, I'm holding back counter. I'm hoping he doesn't tap out early if I don't have the counter. I think I had a Cryptic game two in my opening hand, but I didn't have any other counter. So if he resolved the Geist in turn three, then I wouldn't have been able to stop it. And again, Geist is really hard because it's hexproof, so I don't have any big blockers. And I can path his Angel, but it's just really, really hard to race.
And I'm actually on that other end of that spectrum of I love this match. To me, it's the right line, regardless of the cards you have in your hand, is he who blinks first loses. Which, as the match progresses, you'll see, we both bait out with little spells. I think you responded to my Lightning Helix about 3 times with your own Lightning Helix. Just because you saw it as, okay, he's doing something, this is my opportunity to negate it without using my counter spells.
And I will say that game one, Devin got there by, I believe it was, he attempted to resolve a Geist, and I tapped out to Cryptic and draw. He responded with a Snapcaster targeting his Lightning Helix, so that was it for me.
Right.
And I think I was at 3 or less life.
Yeah, you were at, I believe, 2 life. I baited with the Geist because my thought was, if he has the counter, he's going to counter it here. If he doesn't counter it here, okay, I'm just going to beat him with Geist next turn. But when you tapped out for that Cryptic, it was, okay, it's over. If you had any other counter, I don't think the game would have gone as smoothly. But another downside to these matches is if you see a game 3, you're almost guaranteed to go to turns, which has always been a little issue for me because I'm never sure, the right way to play in turns. Do you, or as you approach turns, do you play, knowing, hey, this match is going to turns, let's stock up our hand and then play everything, once it gets to the point where I cannot lose, or do you play more the let's act like there is no time limit, just out of good sportsmanship?
I like to do a little of both. Obviously you respect the time limit, and go into these matchups, you realize that they are going to be long. They're going to probably go to time, and especially in these type of matchups, I try to play at a really good pace. If I know I can't make a play that turn, regardless, I just draw go. I try to keep it moving back and forth. I don't like to waste unnecessary time. It's not fair on the opponent's side either. And
which is one thing that I did like about this match. As you watch it, you can see we both really tried to keep up that pace, keep moving, because neither one of us wanted it to end in a draw. And the rough thing about this match is if it goes to game 2, and you're on that down a game and you can't take it down.
Exactly.
You going to turns is I need to win just to draw. But when you're up that game, you almost feel more comfortable playing slow because all right, it looks like this is going to be a draw if I don't take this here.
Yep.
So you almost play that more cautious route of if I'm not, beating pressure, I'm still in a better position to win this than he is.
Exactly. And I wanted to say that I feel like it's really difficult because you pass the turn quick, but at the same time, there's a lot going on in your head. You have to really look at what they have open for lands. Do they have 3 blues at Cryptic? Do they side in like Dispellus, Counterflux, and you're just passing the turn back really fast to keep it going along. But at the same time, you have to kind of know your deck inside and out, what you think they're playing, and it's just a lot going on in your head. I think you have to approach from more like intelligent way.
No, do you know what you're trying to play here that you're paying 4 for?
I think it's an Ajani.
Yes, I do remember this play because you play a Johnny.
And I'm minus.
Yeah, you take out my Snapcaster.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the play I wanted you to make, because I saw that a Johnny come down. I think I can counter this.
So you have a bolt in your hand right there.
But I'm not going to waste the time. I'm just going to bolt it once I have priority.
I thought about tapping it down originally because you were beating in with it a couple turns in a row. But, I mean, the life is relevant because we have so much burn. In this matchup, I just wanted to minus. I felt like it was going to die of the burn anyway. So
yeah. I mean, that bolt, had it not been used there, would have gone to your face. Mm. So the real difference is, do I keep the Snapcaster, you keep the Ajani at a lower counter, or, how does it play? I mean, I saw that Ajani come down, and my first thought was, why does he get priority first? Because I wanted nothing more than it come down and bolt it immediately.
Now, you said you run Keranos in your deck, right?
Yes, as a one-of, main.
How do you feel like that works for you?
I feel that in a lot of those matches where it goes long enough that you can take control, it's that final card that puts the game out of reach. It's every turn I'm either getting a kill spell or I'm getting a card deeper to get a kill spell. Which, when you look at the format, say Affinity, I'll kill something a turn. You look at Jund, I'll kill something a turn, I'll draw deeper into my deck.
Yep. It's very, very hard to remove too.
Right, and it's a great win condition. It says I don't have to do anything. I don't have to tap my mana for anything, and I can still win this match.
I don't think I have anything in my deck that can beat it once it's resolved.
No, neither do I.
Because it's not a creature, yet, so you can't really path it, and it never really becomes a creature. I mean, it technically could if you have all 4 Snapcasters and a Johnny.
If it becomes a creature, you're already in such a bad place that you might as well scoop.
Any words, Chris?
Well, you guys were just talking about Keranos, correct?
Yes. Correct. Yes.
So actually, there is ways to deal with it. You can basically do this. Rowan, you can bounce it back to their hand, and they try to play. You just counter it.
You can bounce it with Cryptic.
That's true.
Yes.
That's a luxury I don't run in my 75.
So basically, if you counter it, and you say you only play a one of, so.
Right.
He has no more in deck, so you don't need to worry about getting bolted each turn. That's one of my thoughts on that card. In my mind, if I have Keranos on board and you waste a Cryptic to bounce it, not even waste it, but you're spending that Cryptic to bounce it, I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean... You could also be playing a Snapcaster to target a spell, so he counters that, then bounces.
True.
Yeah.
Because I doubt someone would just waste the Cryptic.
Right. Now, I believe I've been holding this Geist of St. Traft since turn 1 or 2, which, looking at your hand, you have about 6-7 cards in there. My thought is, if I lose this Geist, I lose any chance I have of winning. With 3 cards, I needed more so to bluff the counter magic, because even if I had the counter magic, I'm not going to waste it to protect that Geist. I'm going to use it on your spells and keeping you from winning, because I see it as I have 3 more Geists in the deck. I have Restoration Angel, which, with the amount of kill spells you run, it's not going to last long, but it's still... There's still that chance that it pulls that counter out of your hand. Mm-hmm. My only real chance in this match is to get that Geist down and start beating with it. Because with the limited blockers you run... Now, did you keep Supreme or Anger in?
Yes, I run 2 Supreme Verdicts main board, and I run 2 sides, so I brought the 2 in after siding.
Okay,
for
now
that reason.
why the 2 verdicts main? I know here at Geek Stuff we have more of an aggro meta. Was it a meta call or is it just your personal preference?
It's where I've been going around, different stores and stuff. I feel like there is a lot of aggro, and especially coming here, I did notice that there's a lot of affinity, and
Yes.
that is something that really it's very very hard to beat game one before you side in the angers or wraths, and it's a personal choice of mine as well because I just feel like you really need a wrath, and for a while I was running Wrath of God,
Really?
mostly for Thrun.
Okay. I respect that choice.
But I feel like the format is shifting a lot more towards blue red Delver,
Yes.
the aggressive. This deck is really really hard to beat the Geist, and I just wanted something that couldn't be countered. That was it for me. I mean, you're paying the extra, it's blue double white as opposed to just double white 2 colorless for Wrath.
Which running that cryptic, you already have to think.
Yeah.
If I don't have access to blue mana, there's something wrong here.
So I like to run 2 verdicts main and then bring in 2 angers.
Anger of the Gods.
Yes.
Okay. So now, how do you feel about say you're playing against a green deck, Thrun comes down. How do you really how do you react? Is it okay? That was fun.
I'm gonna try to counter if I have it. If not,
Well, Thrun can't be countered.
That's right. That's
correct.
right. Yeah, yes, that's right. So yeah, I mean that's that case. You really can't do much. I mean, you have to really hope you can get to the position where they're tapped out enough that you can fire off a Wrath, and they don't have the mana to regenerate. That's probably the only thing.
Or a verdict, because with
Verdict.
Wrath they can't regen anyway.
Yes, I mean that's what I meant.
Yeah.
A verdict.
Okay. Now, have you considered, say, in place of that anger, running that Wrath in your board? Like, what's the call, in your opinion, that makes you say, hey, I'm going to run anger over Wrath? I mean, right now I'm running Slagstorm just because I haven't had a chance to pick up any angers.
Yeah.
But what's your mentality of, I like anger over Wrath?
That's a good question. It's just a personal choice for me. I mean, the 2 verdicts in the main board with the 4 CC. I like something that's cheap. You're playing 3.
Yeah.
And the sideboard. I mean, it's double red as opposed to double white, but it's just a personal preference. I mean, I don't really think when you cast anger, there's nothing really you're looking to exile.
Yeah.
That's really relevant.
Relevant right now.
I guess. I mean, it's just more of a personal choice for me.
Okay.
I could probably go with some Wrath in the sideboard because of Thrun, but
because I know from my playing perspective, there's no card I fear more than Thrun, because once that comes down, anywhere in my 75, I don't think I have a way to deal with it.
And for a while, I was running one verdict, 1 anger main, and 1 verdict, 1 anger sideboard.
Sideboard. Now, was that can't be countered? What made you make that switch to 2 in the main, 2 in the board?
Yes, and then seeing the format progress over the last couple months and seeing less of Thrun.
Yeah, and more
not
of
as
that
much,
Delver.
more of the Delver, more of these kind of matchups. You really want something that you can just because they overwhelm me with Delver, Young Pyromancer, stuff like that. And you're such an board state. You need something, and if they counter, if they have the remand, if they have the mana leak, then
yeah,
And
now I think right now, if you look at it after you pass turn, I'm about to drop that resto a little forcefully, which, as we were talking earlier, is really one of the biggest differences between my list and your list is that Restoration Angel.
Is it a Spell Pierce?
Yes, that is a Spell Pierce. I finally drew some counter. I believe I'm holding 3 lands and a Path to Exile. Oh, and a Geist. So
I think I'm trying to Cryptic,
which
is I realized I had to pay 3 blue.
Right, now I think I'm looking at your mana thinking, do I want to Spell Pierce this just to force him to pay the 2 or see what else I can dig out of him? But I think overall I decided that the Spell Pierce was more valuable in my hand than it was, wasting you to tap 2 mana, especially if on my turn I don't feel comfortable dropping that Geist.
And this is what you were saying too, how you use the Restoration as a bait out counter spells in my hand.
Right.
Slowly. I mean, you'd rather trade that with the counter spell and then be able to resolve your Geist.
Right, and be able to resolve my counter spells.
Yeah.
Because Restoration Angel in this match, unless you're holding the paths, which it's other than the Restoration Angel,
Path has really limited targets. Because I know you run how many tech edges do you run? Do you run the 4?
I run 4.
Yeah, so the colonnades, as you see here, they sit in, might as well be hollowed fountains. Because you run the tech edges, I run the ghost quarters. We're both equally prepared for, okay, I need to deal with this thing.
Yes.
And I believe you are paying 3 mana to electrolyze me.
Yes.
Which I believe that was your go-to play all match.
Yes.
Electrolyze you, draw the card.
Yes.
And I believe I actually wound up taking my electrolyze out for this match. I saw that one more damage off the bolt is more valuable than that card.
I just like the draw.
Yeah.
I really want to accelerate. I mean,
I think my logic was whether this card in my hand is as good as any card in my deck. In this match, any card in hand is as good as any card in your deck because you think it's every card in my deck.
yes.
I know personally when I'm looking at that control mirror matchup, I think you have the worst possible cards for me to be playing against at any given time, which I believe I finally tried to jam the Geist and you did counter it.
Do you remember what you happen to side for this match? Who you bring in?
The 3 spell pierces and a 3rd remand. Because my logic was more counter, more counter, more counter.
Yes.
I
remember I brought in a
you brought in the anger,
2 angers, a counter flux,
which I wish I was running in my 75 just for this match of
a sign counter flux, and a dispel. 1 relic of progenitus to target your graveyard.
to take out my graveyard.
Slowly. I mean, if I had to, I'd blow it up. But that was just kind of. I know you were in Snapcaster and the burn.
Yeah.
Got me in game 1, so that kind of had me thinking. I run 2 sideboard. I brought in 1 for this just to have.
Just to have that option, which
Yeah.
I know you did play in our match. You did take a decent chunk of my graveyard. But I believe in the end, all you really ended up doing with it was drawing that card.
Drawing that card, yeah.
Which I feel like the most. If there's any card for this particular match, I wish I ran to my 75. It would be Gitaxian Probe.
Attachment probe.
Because nothing to me would be more valuable than let me see the fact that you're holding 5 lands and a Path to Exile, and I'll jam my Geist.
Knowledge, yep.
Because knowledge is, really the key in this match. Matches like this have been really making me think about switching from, like a French as you like to call it, to more of an Esper build. Because I feel like, that duress, that thought seize, and in the current meta is valuable against everything other than Delver.
Yes.
Which it's like, good against everything other than Delver, other than the best deck in the format right now, or arguably the best deck in the format.
Yes.
It might not be the best, but it's rising in popularity, which makes it a threat to be considered at any time. And looking right now, I see you have about 7 cards in hand, and I have 2 lands and a Restoration Angel.
And the Path.
Yes, and the Path, which I just picked up.
I think I'm trying to. Is that a Helix?
I do believe so. For those viewers, those subscribers, I would like to point out that we are working on the glare, making any changes to reduce the glare as possible for our future matches. Because we do want to increase the viewing experience for you and for us commentating to be able to really give you more information on what's happening in the match. That being said, anybody watching this, feel free to like our videos or subscribe or check out our other videos. There is more coming from us, and if you are from the area, come give us a try down at 2 Wall Street in Spencer, Mass. at Geek Stuff Games. All right, now I did
The Resto or the Geist?
Resto.
Resto.
I tend to play the card and then tap for mana, because I don't know why, but I feel like the mana you tap for it requires more thought than what you actually play. Now I know right here you immediately pathed it, and my first thought was, I'll take a land.
Yep.
I'll thin out my deck.
Yep. I think that was the end of my turn. I passed.
Right.
You attempt to resolve. Sure. Path, and that's it.
And I drew another land, so I'm holding 3 lands, a Path to Exile, and that second Geist. I do apologize for that break in the video. We did reach the end of the allotted amount that we will record, but this is picking up immediately after the end of the last one. And we are looking at about just a few minutes left in the round at this point. Once again, I do think it is important to note here that I did get game 1, and we are about to go into turns of game 2.
And quickly, what I was about to say before the video cut off was in game 2, my mindset mostly was to side in more, counter, play the burn, be proactive, try to counter everything he had, and just kind of grind it out. In game 3, if we had gone to game 3, I would have taken out some counter, and I actually would have brought in a couple of Thunder Maw to try to race you.
Really?
Game 3 if we had gone there.
You know, I think I like Thunder Maw Hellkite in this match regardless, because it's that threat that says it almost baits out my counter. And then with things like Resto, I mean, I run very little that you can't get over.
Any colonnades left?
Now, on the little name dispute earlier, we did look up some other countries that have red, white, blue in their flag colors to try and give you some more options if you don't like Jeskai or American Control.
Yes, next time you go to F&M, someone says, "Oh, you're playing Jeskai?" Say no.
Australian, mate.
Australia, you can play Bermuda, British Virgin Island Control, Cambodia Tempo, Chile Aggro,
Colombia Tempo,
Cook Islands, Costa Rica Control, Cuban Control, Croatia
I like
Control,
that one a lot, actually.
Dominican Republic Control, the Falkland
That
Island
just
Control,
sounds offensive. Dominican.
Fiji Control.
We do apologize for anybody that we may or may not offend. Through our nationality comments, we do respect all nationalities, including those that choose to call their deck Netherlands Control.
What are you at?
17.
Okay.
All right, now we can see that we are on turn 2 of turns. So at this point, my mentality is the worst thing that can happen is I can draw. If you manage to pull it out, you can draw. But the fact that I feel that the fact that I was turn 1 really tipped things in my favor, because you need to play enough to kill me and then kill me. So, you know, it's really one of those positions of you're between a rock and a hard place. Now, as said earlier, this is one of those matches we always have to play, keeping that, you know, that time restriction in mind, whether it be, you know, being conscious to make turns as fast as possible, not as fast as possible, but as efficiently as possible. Because at this point, we're in turns. I've won game 1. My mindset is don't play to win, play to not lose. Which, you know, that's how I approach this match, regardless of time situations. But
Sorry about that, man. Pass.
But I do believe you just played a Keranos, is that correct? So, but where you only have one more turn to take it, I saw the Keranos as, okay, and this is actually turn 5, I drew a Mana Leak, swing with the Resto just because, and I would just like to say with a few seconds left, it was a great match, Matt, and it was a pleasure having you here to commentate with us.
Thank you. And it'd be nice to do another rematch sometime.
2-5-3.